Thanks for downloading another episode of The Ugly Truth. Or if it's your first time, welcome. You are now an honorary UG, or Hug as we like to say. We really appreciate you listening and supporting the show through our Amazon and Avon links at uglytruth.com. And now, without further ado, The Ugly Truth. It's another uncensored look at the world around you from sisters who will say just about anything to anyone at any time. It's the Uggs. Jamie?
Get that chihuahua out of Paula's coffin now!
Paula?
Don't mind my big ass in your face.
Uncensored as always, it's time for The Ugly Truth.
Welcome to The Ugly Truth. It is episode 231. I've decided that I didn't want to spend a ton of time introing the show because I listen to so many, I don't know how many you listen to, but I listen to so many podcasts and the intros go on for, it feels like forever before you actually get to actual content.
It's kind of like when you go to the movies and they show 15 minutes of previews.
Well, I don't, yes, or when you're watching a movie and there are so many production companies involved that you have to go through like 10 screens of different production companies presents before you actually get, and you think, oh, this is the intro. No, it isn't. It's another production company's slide, and it takes forever to get to the actual beginning of a movie. That's kind of how I feel about it. But anyway, welcome.
Well, I was going to say, what happens to me is after all the previews and after everything's all done, I usually look over at Victor. I'm like, Victor, he's like, what? I'm like, what movie are we seeing again? Because I always forget.
Yeah, because it takes so long to get to the actual freaking film. So anyway, welcome to The Ugly Truth. I'm Jamie, and this is Paula. Welcome, everyone, to... What day is it? It's Friday here.
Friday the 20th. So this will be Sunday the 22nd.
Yes. Last night, it started to rain.
Briefly.
But for some strange reason, we had this weird wind gust that came through. And I don't know if it got windy where you were, but we had like significant wind gusts, and it woke us up because this isn't even my awkward moment. We went to bed a little, I fell asleep a little late. I woke up to the sound of booming and I went, what was that? And Daryl goes, oh, it's really windy. And then I look out my window and I see bright flashes of white, like big, bright, explosive sound looking flashes with big explosive booming sounds.
Was it lightning?
No. Now, understand that we have a 2-story house, and I'm looking out at the top of the house, so I'm not on the ground where I could look outside, and I see these big flashes of white and these big sounding explosive sounds, and I'm not awake, really. And I go, oh my God, it's a gun! And he's like, what? And I go, someone's shooting a gun! And he's like, no, honey, it's a transformer. A tree hit the transformer and caused explosions off the power pole.
Oh.
And then within 20 seconds, our whole house lost power.
Aw,
and
sucks.
Our alarm, but we have a house alarm, so the house alarm.
I'd be like, thanks a lot, Bumblebee.
Oh my God. And I'm like, God, maybe it was a raccoon or something, and it got exploded on the thing. But no, I look outside and it was just, the trees were practically bent in half. And I thought, well, is it a tornado? Because it was really violent and then just dead. There was not a breeze in sight. It just stopped. It was so weird. It was almost like a giant walk through our backyard.
Maybe you were in the eye of the storm.
It was freaking weird. And I had only been asleep for like an hour. It was like 1:15. When I panic like that, if I hear something at night or whatever, and he'll get up immediately and throw on shorts and walk through the house because he thinks that I can hear everything, and if it's something bad, he's going to go check it out. So he gets up and he grabs his shorts, and then he goes, and then he comes back and he sits on the bed. I go, what are you doing? He goes, well, I think I should hold you. You're really alarmed. I'm like, I'm terrified. What's going on in the world? He's like, all right, everything's fine.
Why didn't you just go with him?
Because I'm just not going to. And so he did it for like a second, then he got back up and he's like, I'm going to go check, because he wanted to make sure the dogs were okay, because they made no sound, which is really unusual. So he went out there. They're sitting in the middle of the yard in the rain looking up, like turkeys. And so he brought him in. Bodega, our husky, did not want to come in, but he finally did for a minute, and then he went back out and went to his dog house. So clearly whatever weirdness that was passed. And now it's just, wet and kind of chilly today, but I did not fall asleep till almost 5.
Oh
I'm
my
so tired.
gosh.
I had a really hard time falling back asleep because, you know what? There's just been so many natural disasters and other things going on. And so it takes nothing for me to just freak the fuck out. I was like, are we sure that it wasn't a gunshot? He's like, I'm sure. I'm absolutely positive. We have no Wi-Fi. It was a power surge thing. And I went, all right, fine.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I've never seen one of those
Me either.
transponders or formers or whatever they're called.
I think it's Transformers, but it sounds weird because I think that's a toy.
I always, whenever they say Transformer, I just start laughing and I'm just like, yeah, good one.
Robots in disguise.
Okay, this is embarrassing.
What?
Speaking of getting things wrong, I said to Victor the other night, I'm like, why do they want to call Indians insidious people now? And he said, I don't know. He says, I know why they want to call them indigenous people. I'm like, I'm just like,
you're like, oh, they're not insidious. Indians aren't insidious.
I'm like, well, what does insidious mean? He's like, I don't know. And so I had to look it up.
It's evil. It's bad. It's a bad thing.
Because there was a day the other day that it says Indigenous People Day or something like that. Or
yes, because they don't want to call it Columbus Day anymore. Some people want to call it to Indigenous Day.
Indigenous People Day.
It's so weird because it's erasing everything we learned in school when we were little. I remember doing the Nina, Pinta, and Santa Maria construction paper poster for Columbus Day. Christopher Columbus in 1492 sailed across the ocean blue. Apparently that's inappropriate now, and we have to honor the indigenous folks of North America, which I hate. Yes, we absolutely should. The white people rubbed them out, as they would say in Little Big Horn. I love that movie.
You want to talk about inappropriate?
What?
I had no idea how bad this was.
What?
Ryan found a video on YouTube, and it basically just showed various scenes from Peter Pan. Do you know how bad that movie is?
Yes, I do.
It's horrible.
It's very, very stereotypical. And that's being nice. That's being nice. But it was a time when people did not think of that as being inappropriate. It was just a way to, box in, this is what we're talking, you know what I mean? I don't think anybody was doing it thinking they were being an asshole. I think it was like, they're Indians. This is how we portrayed them in the media. This is how we've always portrayed them. But yes, it's very difficult to watch sometimes.
Well, I'm just like, now, people would be outraged.
Yeah.
I wonder why they aren't. That's going to be the next thing they're going to wipe out is any Disney movie that's not PC.
The only Disney movie I know that they have absolutely eliminated from the vernacular is Song of the South. You cannot find a Song of the South movie to save your life because they just don't exist. I'm sure they exist, but you can't buy it. You can't buy it anywhere reputable anyway.
Yeah,
that is incredibly racist. But what's interesting is that if you read the book, it's not real. It's all symbolism. It's not meant to be that. The Song of the South, the movie, which I recall watching as a small child, I can see how obviously it was deemed racist many, many, many years ago. So I'm sure there's some validity to it. But the book is about slaves escaping the master. It's a symbolism book. It's a book based on symbolism.
Oh, no wonder Disney picked it up.
Right? So
right up their alley.
I don't even know why, but you can watch any older Disney film and find inappropriateness. think about Dumbo. Think about the Crows. Think about
what about the Crows?
Well, they're black jazz singers. And they are very stereotypical. There's just a lot of that. And I think Bugs Bunny, the Warner Brothers, when they were doing all those Bugs Bunny cartoons, which are most of them are very funny, they had a hang up with Chinese people. They always did. In fact, I think I recall one where he calls him a Chinaman. Like, he literally calls him a Chinaman in the cartoon.
Well, that was the other scene they showed is from Lady and the Tramp, the two Siamese cats.
Yes.
They had their eyes slanted and they're
super
Siamese,
yes,
if you please.
And And the thing is that you can find inappropriateness in anything, or you can just find it for what it is.
Well, then they had them playing the piano with chopsticks going ching chong ching.
That is horribly. That's just so inappropriate. You were not allowed to laugh.
Well,
at those
I
things.
was laughing because I was like in such disbelief. I'm like, why have I never noticed that before?
Because it's not. Because naivety is a lovely thing. Because we don't look at that as, I don't know. I've seen so many cartoons where they portray Mexicans as lazy, always sleeping. Speedy Gonzales, all that stuff was probably considered racially insensitive. But it doesn't bother me. I don't know why. I guess it should. I guess I should be pissed, but I'm not. Just like, I read a little blurb that they're trying to say that white women can't wear hoop earrings anymore because it's a Latin thing.
Who said that?
Oh, who knows? Some rando who somehow
off. You know what? This is how we get into trouble.
Right?
One person, just
right.
one, says something, and it must be a slow day somewhere, and they say, I no longer think it's appropriate to have picnics in parks, and then suddenly
because that's
it's giving ants high cholesterol.
Right.
So
we're killing off the ants, you guys. No more picnics.
Save the ants.
Stop with the potato salad. Those poor ants. Yeah, it's crazy. I'm like, please wear the hoops. I love hoop. Well, I'm Mexican, so apparently I'm allowed to wear them.
I'd wear them if I want to.
You're Mexican. You're allowed. You can wear whatever you want. You're free and clear of this tragedy of hoop earrings. I just thought, God, it must be so nice to be so bored with your life that nothing else pisses you off except for this. Like, how luxurious of a life you must have to only be pissed about hoop earrings and cornrows. I would love to have that life. Wouldn't you? That would mean you have no other problems.
Not really, because that just means you're an incredibly negative person.
Yes, with a perfect life, you have no problem. Your children are perfect. You have a perfect job. You make enough money. You have perfect housing, and your lover is perfect. You have nothing to complain about. So you have to go find something. I would love that life. That'd be great. Anyway, okay, so I told you we didn't talk about it on the show, but I've talked about it previously where, months leading up to my annual physical at the doctor's office, which is always a clusterfuck, by the way.
Months leading up. And when you say months, you mean like 11 months in advance.
11 months. I'm anxiety preparing for my physical because I know that he's going to find something wrong with me. I was concerned. But anyway, me, I get the lecture every year from the doctor about, well, you need to lose, if we can just tighten it up just a little bit,
just maybe write down this number, subtract 20, and then weigh that much,
and then just be that. Yeah, that's pretty much the discussion that I get every year, and I've been having that discussion since I was 15, ever since I hit puberty. It's like, if you could just take that number and just be that number, that would be great. We would love it. So I, do whatever I can. Honestly, I work out 4 days a week. I eat nothing fun. I hate I hate it. It sucks. So I go and, I walk into the doctor's office and it's my turn because Daryl went before me. And now you've seen Daryl, and the doctor told him he had to lose 10 pounds. Can you stand it?
Again?
Yes. He said he has to lose 10 pounds. I go,
how much did he have to lose last time?
None. But he didn't gain anything. That's the thing. And so I'm like, okay, I don't really, now I'm not trusting anything this guy says. Now, I know I would love to be a size 0. In my whole life, even as a child, I was never a size 0. So
when I see size 0 clothes, I think of my daughter.
Your 8-year-old? Yes.
And I'm like, these are like her size.
Yeah, they're so tiny. So I walk in, she goes, okay, so let's get your height and weight. And I said, we do not speak its name. And she's like, understood. She's so cool. She's like, I get it. She puts her hand up immediately over the numbers so I can't see.
You weren't even curious?
No, I don't want to know. I just refuse because all it will do, it will eat at me because it won't be what I want it to be. So anything above, what I think it should be, is just horrible, and I'll obsess over it for months, and I can't do. I know my limits, and I just can't know.
But wouldn't you want to at least compare from last year?
I don't know what it was last year. No.
Okay.
So I go in, I sit down, and I'm waiting for the doctor to come in to tell me, so what have you been doing? This is how much you've gained this year or whatever. Because last year I had gained 3 pounds.
Oh, okay.
And I was devastated. So he comes in, he's like, you've lost almost 10 pounds. And I'm like, really? He goes,
hey!
Yeah. Right? And I said, of course I didn't say this to the doctor. I'm in my mind, I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? That's more than I thought. Like, I knew I had lost the 3 pounds, but I didn't know I had lost almost 10. That's awesome. He's like, just keep doing what you're doing. I didn't even get just beat this number. None of it. He's like, just keep doing it. Whatever you're doing, just do it. I'm like, sweet.
That's great.
I know. And so I was telling him about my bowel problem earlier this month. And he said, oh, you need to take peppermint oil pills.
Peppermint
Have you ever
oil
heard
pills?
of that?
No.
What?
I know I'm, gluten-free, but it doesn't mean I know, like, herb shit.
Well, he's, my doctor's Chinese, so he's all about the herbs.
That reminds me, because my OBGYN, he's Chinese, and so when I was pregnant with Olivia, I'm like, don't you have some sort of voodoo Chinese medicine that, will help stop me from throwing up?
Don't you have some ancient herb I can have?
I'm like, I don't care if it gives me bad breath. I just want something.
All right, turtle. It seems silly, but and I've also started doing yoga. Namaste.
Oh, how are you doing that?
Well, I just want to make it very clear that I will never go to a yoga studio with others.
Because I want to do yoga, but
I will do yoga outdoors where there's fresh air, but I'm not doing it in those tiny little studios that you see with people with only, lycra leggings and bras on. I don't want to do it. I will be so overly concerned about the odors that I won't be able to focus. And I was talking to my hairdresser about yoga because he used to do yoga. He goes, I'll only do yoga with like 4 other people. Like, we'll have our own lesson with our own person. Because when you do it with more than 15 or 20 or 30, he's like, he goes, the amount of farting and smell, it's just
Are you joking me?
No. And so I said, well, that's pretty much put a nail in that coffin. I will never do yoga like that. But I would do it out. He goes, you can do it outdoors and it's really nice because there's always a breeze, which means you won't get any of that unseemly after effect that comes with it. Like, I don't know how people do hot yoga. I don't know how they do it.
That's like being trapped under a blanket.
It's like being trapped under someone's butthole.
It's like the ultimate Dutch oven.
It's like, here, put your head down here between my legs and let's stretch. I don't want to do it.
Don't mind my big ass in your face.
Don't mind the farting. I just had some wheatgrass juice before we started.
Gross.
I don't want to do it. I just don't. But I would do it outdoor where there's fresh air. And as long as I had like double the body length away from me, then I would do it. But right now, currently, I just do it by myself in my room on my own little pink yoga mat. I do very basic because I just started like not even a month ago. So it's very basic. But I have to tell you, minus the spiritual part, because I don't do anything spiritual with it, I have always enjoyed stretching. It is so centering. It really works. I was shocked that it worked. And now when I get anxious, I actually I feel the need to stretch. Like, it's so, because I feel so at peace when I do it. It's very, I never thought that I would be a yoga person, but but I'm doing it on my own terms. I'm not being forced by someone to do this or that. I'm doing the moves, downward dog and all that stuff on my own. And so I'm happy with it. I don't do a ton, but I do about 15 minutes.
So did you like learn the moves from the internet? And
there's apps.
Oh,
yeah. There's all kinds of apps. Yeah. And then, we have, you and I, we have Xfinity, and there's all those on demand channels, and there's yoga classes on demand. So you can actually go on demand. Now, I have to say that some of them they say they're beginner, and they're not. I mean, they're just not.
Well,
it's They're like, yeah, this is easy. Just balance your entire weight of your body on your arm. No, I don't know how that's beginner. It's very difficult. But anyway, so you should try it. I find it really relaxing, and it does center me, and it cools me down after if I do like 45 minutes of cardio or something. But yeah, I won't go to, no offense to those who do it, because everybody has, I know actually have a lot of friends who teach yoga. And they go everywhere. They go to different gyms. They go to different studios. I've seen them do outdoor classes. So, I mean, it's a really cool option if you don't want to, lift weights or do other things, and this is it's core body work. It's really strenuous if you want it to be. So
I would do like an outdoor class as long as there's not like a bunch of skinny bitches there, because
who
am I be fooling?
Hey Hugs, as we say goodbye to summer, Amazon is the easiest way for you to say hello fall, with everything from pumpkin spiced pretty much anything to boots to scarves and a lot of Halloween candy. If you go to Amazon.com, they'll have it for you. Not only will you save a ton of time going out and about in the crowds trying to get these items, it will be delivered directly to your door, and if you're a Prime member, free shipping. So check out the Ugly Mall, click through to support the Uggs, and prepare for the cool, lovely weather of fall. Bye! So before we started recording the show, we were talking briefly because we were talking about, medical and physicals and stuff. And we were talking about a friend of ours who had to go through the process of picking up their loved one's ashes. And whenever that happens, because you know how morbid I am, and you know what? I don't even know if I consider myself morbid. I consider myself someone who wants to be prepared. I don't think you can ever emotionally prepare for something, but I don't want to be so blindsided and so helpless if I ever have to go through it. So I'm always thinking ahead of, I'm creating stories for myself. Like, okay, so if this happens, this is what I would do. If I die, this is what I want to have happen, stuff like that.
Or if I'm a vegetable on life support, right. What do I want to have happen?
Which sister's going to inject the Windex? Because I can't be a burden forever. I just couldn't do it. I wouldn't want that. And Daryl does not have the ability to put me to sleep. He just doesn't. He doesn't.
No, he does not.
Which is fine, but if someone else did it and no one told him, that'd be okay.
Victor would do it before the conversation ever came up. He'd be like, she doesn't want to live like this.
He's like, I know how to kill her with a finger.
God. He's just like, where? He'd just start pulling the bed out and looking in behind it. Oh, here's the plug.
She's fine. She wouldn't want to be this way. Don't worry. It's over. It's fine. No, but we were talking about that. And now I had changed my mind. For a long time, I wanted to be buried in a pod.
Yeah.
So I could grow a tree. And then I thought, you know what? I don't know if I want to do that. I think I want to be kind of selfish. I think I want to be cremated, and I want my ashes somewhere with Daryl at all times. I mean, the kids can have some too, but for the most part, I think I want to be around so that Daryl has guilt for a little bit longer than he should before he hooks up with other ladies. That would be awesome.
That's not fair.
So what? Who says life ain't fair? Death ain't fair. So that's I thought,
totally true. But what if he never moves on because he can't get over the fact that your ashes are there?
Well, what will ultimately happen is they'll be like, Dad, we're taking the ashes from you. This has gone on quite long enough. No more of this. Mom wouldn't want this. She was just kidding. She didn't think you would do this forever. You gotta stop watching Sleepless in Seattle. You've got to move on.
Right? Jeez.
You've got to move on. So I don't know. For me, it's funny because he goes, well, I'll never marry again. And I'm like, well, you're such a romantic. But he goes, well, I didn't say that I would stop living. I just wouldn't marry again. I'm like, oh. I'm like, so you'll bring whores home, but you won't marry them. He's like, pretty much. I'm like, okay.
See, this is the thing I'm having a hard time deciding is there's the option of being buried, but you're more or less buried in like a cardboard box,
right?
Because you go to dust faster, basically.
You decompose into the earth very quickly,
faster, and
right.
There's still the tombstone or headstone or whatever there is, and a place
right.
for people to visit.
Sure.
And so I kind of like that idea because I just. I want everyone to know I'm at peace, and
Sure.
I'm
Closure.
I'm one with the earth, and it all happened very fast and all that
Yes.
kind of stuff. Because I don't think I could do that whole embalming and putting on makeup and wearing my clothes and then people
what?
coming up and looking at me. That's just weird.
Well, it's very ritualistic, and for some people it is what they expect because that's kind of the way our part of the world does it. For the most part, there are obviously many other options, but when you think about it, that's kind of how people say goodbye, is they get to see one last look and they move on.
Did you know in the Midwest they take pictures and stuff?
Yeah, when our grandmother passed away and we had a bunch of her stuff, I was going through it. I'm like, what are all these pictures of dead people? She had 3 or 4. and my mom was like, oh, well, we're from Illinois. And I'm like, what is that supposed to mean? I don't understand. Is there something going on in Illinois that I'm unaware of? And she's like, no, they take photos of the deceased. It's kind of like a, I don't know, keepsake or something. Like back in the old days, they would take pictures of the deceased because it was the only time that they would get their photos taken because it was expensive. And I said, oh, so what? Just the tradition carries on into the 60s? It's like, wow, I had no idea. It was unusual. But if they were loved ones, I think it was her father or something. And so I'm like, okay, I kind of get it. Maybe not her father, but, someone like that, maybe an uncle or whatever. And so I said, yeah, I know, and I don't want to get into a weird territory, but I know we do it for children, especially if they die young. But older people, it seems a little odd. For someone like me, I would not want that. No selfies.
I was thinking there'd be the table and there would be all the weird glasses and signs and things like that with the selfie stick, and then everyone can be like, awesome, or
get the mustache. Come on, it'll be hilarious.
LOL.
It's like hashtag Paula's funeral. Seriously. I bet if you did that, if you did a hashtag something funeral, there would be photos.
Oh,
there would have to be.
God. I wonder if people would even be brave enough to use those.
You know what, Paula? You would finally go viral. That's what would happen. You would.
Well, I told Victor, I said my funeral would be so unique. People would walk in and I'd be playing Usher.
Usher, Usher, Usher. Hey, hey.
And I would want it to be like a celebration or something,
Well, you do.
People could walk in and be like, celebrate good times, come on.
Yahoo! Yeah, exactly. And there might be a couple people who would come in and dance in a red dress.
Oh my God.
I know, I have a couple.
Most people would walk in and be like, what the hell?
What is this? What's going on here? This is so inappropriate. That would be me. Olivia would be with her iPad going, what? I'm videoing everything. I'm like, that is inappropriate. Yeah. Put it down. I'm not wearing black today.
Put that down and go say goodbye to your mother.
Get that chihuahua out of Paula's coffin now.
Oh my God.
No more Pablo.
I just wanted to take a selfie with him and my mom.
Oh God. And then Ryan will be in the corner. Little Herman Munster.
Yeah, really. He could be in the corner rolling his eyes. Typical teenager, oh my God, this is so weird.
It's like, when are we going to go do my thing? When is this going to be over? I want to do mine.
Is this the reason my mom took so many pills, was because she wanted things like this to happen?
Yes. They were trying to curtail your real personality your whole life. God.
Oh my God.
So there's 2 stories. Here's the first one. You recall last week when I told you how our husky got out and he was tracking a coyote and got into this neighbor's yard, and they were all, oh God, we're so glad he's friendly, blah, blah, blah. Okay. 2 days ago, the county came and served us with a ticket for our dog, saying that he was aggressive and that if we didn't get him licensed, that they would come and get him.
Oh my God.
That fucking cunt was a liar, and I couldn't believe it. She's like, well, just let me have your address, and that way, if he gets out again, I can bring him back to you. She didn't want my address to bring him back to me. She wanted my address so that she could serve me with a ticket. They called the pound on me, and now we have to, he's licensed actually, but we didn't live here when we did it. So when they looked up our name and number, there was no dog registered. So we have to like change it. And so they're like, if you don't get this resolved in 2 weeks, we're going to come and get you. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I'm like, first of all, he's not aggressive. But I get it. And the thing is if she had been honest and said, look, we called the pound. They're on their way. I'm glad you found him, but, you know, they're coming. If she had been a little more honest, I would have said, well, I'll be here. Then I'm going to stay. Because I mean, even though I look like shit, I'm not going to let somebody who was upset by the dog tell the whole story. Like, I want them to see the dog and see that he's not, you know, and I'll take the ticket for not having him registered to my address. But the fact she's like, well, I'm so glad that I met you. I'm Jenny. This is Tony, you know, totally sweet. And then 2 days later, I get a ticket from the county saying your dog was aggressive. And there was this long ass paragraph about her, you know, life story about how terrifying it was, even though she offered to pet the dog and let her son poke my dog with a stick and he didn't do anything. Like, the dog was totally fine. I said, I'm not mad at the ticket. I'm mad that she lied and acted like everything was fine and it was nice to meet you and we'll talk, we'll see, I'm sure we'll see each other again someday. That is what pissed me off. Because you know what? It has been so long since I have been snowed by somebody. I'm furious about it. I'm so mad. But I'm not mad about the whole dog license and him getting out and scaring. Like, I'm not being ridiculous. But what makes me mad is she led me to believe that all was well and everything's fine and, you know, we're moving on with our lives. But no.
Well, I mean, maybe she's just, you know, so non-confrontational that she wanted to, you know, just say whatever she had to say to make it seem like you guys were ending on good terms.
It's all a lie.
Well, I mean, it is a lie, but it is still an option that, you know, if she was that timid and also that afraid of dogs, that she's just like, okay, everything's good, bye, you know.
And then just like, I'm going to call I'm going to file a report. I am complaining. The thing with things like that, though, is that it's kind of like when, you know, once there's a paper trail beginning with anything, if he ever gets out again, I mean, we're fucked. That's the thing that bugs me, is that people, they do that and they don't have dogs. So because she's afraid of dogs. Mm-hmm. But the reality is that when you do something like that, first of all, that's kind of like a last straw kind of thing, because if Bodega was getting out all the time and he was, you know, constantly getting in the yard to get to their chickens or something like that, I would be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And we would have some serious discussions about how to reinforce our yard and stuff.
Right.
But he doesn't get out. Like, he doesn't break out and run and terrorize the village unless, you know, someone lets him out, which has happened, but not anymore since we, you know, received we got the home alarm and we deadbolted the gates and stuff so people can't get into our house. But it wasn't the point of that the county is threatening us. It was that she literally lied to my face and I bought it. And that never happens. I know people so well. That's why Daryl's like, maybe the husband did it.
That's what I was just going to say. It's because she had called the husband and he was on his way home.
Yes.
And so when she called him back to say blah, 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 he's probably like, well, I'm already almost home. And, you know, This is bullshit. And,
maybe.
You know,
maybe
we're going to call because I can't afford to, you know,
leave again
and have this happen. You're going to have to call next time.
Maybe. And so we did have that discussion, but I think it's because I would never do that I'm just so bewildered by this action. And it's not anything like, I'm not saying it's not unexpected. I'm not saying that it's inappropriate for her or him to call. If it was truly scary and he was aggressive, which I've never seen the dog be aggressive to humans in my 9 years of owning him, but that's not the point. If she misconstrued it as aggression, then it's fair.
Yeah.
But what I didn't like was that, okay, thanks, bye. It was nice meeting you. Oh, so, you know, maybe we'll trick or treat at your house kind of crap.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I hope they come to my house. I can't wait.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it, assholes. it was just really shocking because I said, man, I read that so wrong. I was so surprised. And yes, there is the option that it was the husband that did it.
I think the husband did it, to be honest.
Man, all I know is that I really can't wait. I hope they come to our house. They have our address.
I don't think that will ever happen.
I'm like, hey, hi, Tony. Want some candy?
No,
I know. Okay, and then the second thing is, now there's a neighbor that moved in like 6 months ago, maybe 8 months ago, and he's a real asshole. Like a real asshole. He hates everyone in the neighborhood. I've said hello to him and he scowls. He has 2 children, and every time I see them and he's out walking them, letting them ride their bikes because they're younger, they're crying. Like, he's a real dick. And he's decided to take it upon himself to go to all the HOA meetings. Now, we are the youngest couple in our neighborhood, and we're in our 40s. Most of these people were educators who bought homes in this little subdivision 20 years ago, and that now they're all retired and they're all friends because they all worked for the school district, and they just love their little area, and a couple of them come and go, whatever. So now when people are leaving because the houses are too big because their kids leave, these other folks move in. So this guy moves in, so he goes to the HOA meetings and he's like verbally abusing people at the HOA meetings and like demanding records from 15 years ago. And do you remember Mrs. Toledo at Casa? She was a special ed teacher.
Retired before I got there, but the name is I remember Mr. Toledo.
Yeah, that's her husband. Okay. And they live down the street. And so anyway, this guy is such an asshole and he harasses them, and I'm like, I swear to God, don't make me go to these HOA meetings because I'm not afraid of people like you big fucking asshole. Like, he's such a dick. And so, and then, and really verbally abusing people who are in their 70s is just so low. Like, I don't know how you get any satisfaction out of doing that is beyond me. Some of the women are afraid of him. So that makes me mad. It makes me want to like do stuff now. Anyway, so someone has decided that he has caused enough harm and we're going to try to be more neighborly. So we got booed the other day. Do you know what that is?
Booed?
Yes. We open up the door and there is a little goodie bag full of Halloween themed gifts and candy. And it says, you've been booed and you have 2 days to boo 2 other neighbors.
Oh, that's cute.
It is cute, but now it's making me be neighborly, which I'm not very good. Daryl's the one that everyone loves. It's not me. I'm not the one.
Well, it's because you show your boobs to everyone.
I do, and I expose them, and I wear see-through things with no bras, especially in the winter when I deliver Christmas cookies to all the men.
Are you sure it wasn't you got boobed?
No.
Okay.
And if I knew my neighbors better, which I don't, I would booze them. I would give them bottles of wine. But no, I don't know them very well. So I have to go buy like towels and cute little portion bowls and stuff like that. So I did that and I delivered them. The problem is everybody has cameras now. So they know who booed everybody. I mean,
right.
But I just go, but I think I went at like 11 o'clock at night and dropped them off because I didn't want to be seen. So now I'm participating in neighborhood antics.
Well, that's cute.
But I just figured if it makes the older members of our community feel like there's still some kind of community, I'll do it. So I'm doing it. I don't know.
You want to talk about crazy? My one girlfriend.
Yeah.
She and her boyfriend, they just bought a house on Dovewood Court.
Why would she do that?
I have no idea. And and everyone in the comment section, because she posted it on Facebook, everyone's like, you realize what responsibility you have now. Like, great. You know what you have to do.
People from all over the state come to Dovewood Court.
I know.
Dovewood Court is a historic court in Orangevale, California, where every single house, I think there's like 15, 20 houses in that court.
Maybe, yeah.
And they go, I mean, all the way Christmas. And it's from the day after Thanksgiving until like the week after New Year's.
It's like a Christmas parade.
It is a Christmas village, and every house has its own theme. and they go all out. I remember I read an article about someone who has lived on Devilwood Court for like 20 years, and they said that their energy bill is at least $1,000 a month.
God.
And so now, because of just an inordinate amount of decorations, so now what they do is they have fundraising. They also ask that you bring canned food because they don't charge anybody to come through.
Right.
And you can't even drive through it. You used to be able to drive through it, but now you have to walk because so many people come.
Yeah.
All the high school kids love to do it. It's like their little romantic date where they all go and walk with their Starbucks and they walk through Devilwood Court.
That's a cute date.
It's super cute. All of our girls have done it. Even Tyler did it once. So it is quite the responsibility to buy a house on Devilwood Court. I was shocked. I was shocked that she did it. I said, wow, I had no idea you were into the Christmas spirit like that.
Well, they're gonna have to. I mean, it's major, so.
And there's every year, if you go through Devilwood, you can always see someone who's decided that they're not doing anything, and they have like one blow up thing on their lawn, and the lights are dim. There's no decorations at all.
Yeah, really.
There's always one who goes, I'm not doing this. I'm sure that they're shunned.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
No, I'm sure they're prepared to go all out. So.
Oh well, I can't. Well, now I'm gonna have to go. I haven't.
Yeah, I hope she
I'll have
posts
to
it
go
on Facebook, or we'll go. We'll probably end up going anyway because we always go.
Yeah, it's fun.
And Devilwood just kind of got started. I think from a couple of people just decorating their houses or something like that, and then it just exploded. Probably like in the 80s.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it was in the early 80s when that. I don't know. We should do some research on that. I'm kind of curious about that. Anyway, okay, so we're running out of time, so we'll skip our scary stories till next week.
Okay.
But let's do our ugly and awkward moments of the week.
One of the podcasts that we listen to has a sponsor called Draft.
Okay.
And I decided, because I do watch some sports.
Yes.
And I decided, I'm like, you only have to put in some money. And like the one draft I decided to enter was like a $5 buy-in. And so I'm like, okay, that's cool. I'm like, I'll do that. Yeah. And there was like, it had 10 people or 6 people or something like that in the players. And so I wrote down my 5 players that I wanted to pick, because they let you pick quarterback, 2 running backs, and then 2 wide receivers / tight ends. I think that's what it is.
Yes.
So I wrote down my 5, and I'm like, okay, these are the 5 that I want to pick. And so the time came where it was time to log in, and they were going to start picking like the players.
Okay.
And so
what happened?
What I didn't realize is that this draft, it goes in order of when you joined.
When did you join?
Well, I was like the 6th person to join.
Okay.
Well, one of the other ones I had played was you do get to pick whoever you want. It doesn't matter how many people are, in the draft. That one's there's like 1,500 in the draft.
Got it.
And so with this one, I'm just like, hey, why can't I pick Deshaun, I forget the guy's name, Williams. I'm like, that's who I had written down. And so when it came up to quarterback, and the other thing about it is you only get 30 seconds to pick.
Oh my God, that's way fast.
And I'm just like, and so it has a list of who's available. So I'm like, okay, I guess I'm going to pick Tom Brady, because that's who was available. And then the next one came around, and then I'm just like, I don't know any of these people. And so,
oh no.
So I had to wait each turn. I had time to scroll in between like each round.
Yes.
But basically I have a team now that I don't know any of them.
Well, so you don't even know if they're good?
I don't know. I really don't know. Oh my God. I mean, I know Tom Brady is good, but...
Yes, he is.
But
He's good.
Other than that, I was pretty much screwed, because I got stuck with, having to wait there's 6 people to pick my people.
Well,
I guess you kind of need to know or have someone explain to you how these work, because there's no instructions. And so if you want to do it, you have to have someone tell you, like, okay, if you enter one of these types of drafts, you have to wait your turn before you get to pick. And so you should have, like, 4 quarterbacks, pick 4 quarterbacks in the lineup before, because you're not going to necessarily
have your decisions,
right?
And then prepare. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of waiting my turn for anything. When I want what I want, I get really irritated, and I know it probably is a spoiled brat mentality, but I don't really care, So it's like I'm listening to you going, well, I don't understand. Why can't you just take what you want? Like, I don't get it either. So it is a very ugly moment for sure. And I was just
moment. I was like, oh my God. I'm like, wait, no, I'm not done. And then one time I did miss out on the 30 seconds because I was trying to figure it out. So then they just assigned me a player.
They award you something? Okay.
And so it was just
they award you.
But I was thinking, I'm like, this is stupid. I don't know what I'm doing.
Because you're sitting there screaming at the screen, and then what makes it worse is if there's a chat room. They're like, hey, what are you doing there, Ugly? What's going on?
That's exactly what I was thinking. I'm like, these guys are thinking, and they're like, what is she doing?
Who is this person, and why?
She's going to ruin everything. But
and we do. We absolutely do. Is green the only thing this comes in?
So how does your fantasy football work then?
Well, we actually meet in person.
Okay.
And we do draw. There's 10 of us, or no, 8 of us. We do draw numbers. And I've only one time have received the great pick of first. I'm always usually 6th or 7th, and it fucking sucks. Because it's the same thing. It's like everybody you want's taken by the time it's your turn. And inevitably I throw fits. I literally will throw some kind of fit. But I'm like, hey, why did you take him? I wanted him. And they're like, because that's who I'm taking. I'm like, yeah, but I wanted that one, and it's funny, but it's frustrating as hell. It's really frustrating. So that's how we do it. We do it the way that you did it online, but at least we can have some dialogue. Like, I gave this one guy so much shit this year. He took Sebastian Janikowski.
Okay.
I have had Sebastian Janikowski on my fantasy football team for 5 years running. No one takes him. Everyone knows that Jamie gets him. That's just the way it is. That's just the way we play. And that fucker took him in like round 4. And I said, what are you? I turned into, I don't know, something. And I said, what are you doing? And he goes, what? I'm taking a kicker. I'm like, you and I both know what you just did. Explain yourself. Why would you do that? He goes, well, he's a really good kicker. I'm like, no shit. He's my kicker. Why are you ruining tradition? What is going on with you? And so, sure as shit, Janikowski's out for the season with a back injury. And I blame him completely. I go, you ruined it. You cursed him by not letting me have him. And so now here we are. No Janikowski. It was crazy, but it can't happen. That definitely does. Or they'll try to go, are you sure you want that one? Okay, well, enjoy the hamstring injury. They try to scare you into getting rid of him and stuff. That doesn't happen online, obviously. But
well, see, my first draft, my quarterback pick was Aaron Rodgers. And so,
well, that didn't do anything.
I got like 0.32 points, and
because he just showed up and wrote his name on something.
These pings on my Facebook page like, Aaron Rodgers out, broke collarbone, and I'm like, no.
Actually, it's really funny. You have Daryl's luck. Producer Dub he's been in a football league for like 10 years.
Yeah.
I don't think he's had one healthy player this season. He had Aaron Rodgers. He had Derek Carr. He had Janikowski. He had Odell Beckham Jr. I mean, he's had every single person who's out for the season. He has had at some point. He is like in the hole, so much money at this point. He can't even take it. He's like, I don't even know what to do with myself. I'm like, well, you just need to just let it go. Like, don't invest any more money into it. If you're that far in the hole, you just got to kind of cut your losses and just be that guy that everybody automatically wins that week because they do head to head.
Speaking of Derek Carr, that guy is hot.
He's a cutie pie.
My God.
He's okay. He's not my type. His eyebrows bother me. I mean, I'm hoping that he'll straighten that out as he ages, because I think he's only like 28, 27. something.
I know, he
He's
kind of
young.
reminded me of Cowboy Cerrone.
Really?
A little bit in the face. Yeah.
He's not bald at all. Oh, well, maybe. I don't know. I mean, he's attractive. I wouldn't throw him out of bed, but the eyebrow situation. And I feel like he has a skin problem. I'm not sure.
Skin problem?
He has like zits.
Oh.
At least it seems that he does. And I mean, they're very sweaty, so I get it. But I don't look at him and go, "Row." I just don't.
When they zoomed on him last night, when he was throwing the football, I'm like, Derek Carr. I'm like, wow, where did you come from?
Yes, he's very cute. Actually, I think Aaron Rodgers is adorable. His eyes are a little buggy, but he's super cute.
He's the one with the eyebrow issue. Jeez.
Really? Aaron Rodgers has eyebrow issues?
Those things
I'll
look
have to
like
look it up.
carpets.
I'll have to look it up. As long as he's not super hairy. I'm not into the hairy thicket thing. I'm not. But I mean, no, I've dated men who have hairy bodies. It's just not my thing. I prefer hairless.
It's difficult.
Less hair.
It's difficult to be with someone really hairy. I don't think I have been, but I don't think I would be.
I've been with someone who had the back hair issue, and it's like all you want to do is shave it or wax it or something. Like you so badly want to do that, but that's who they are. That's you can't modify it.
It is what it is.
I would, but I mean, still, that's probably why we're not together anymore. It was the back hair. Had nothing to do with his alcoholism. He had back hair.
God.
I know.
Did Cowboy Cerrone move up to 170?
I believe he did, and he's fighting this weekend. Or next weekend.
28 next weekend, the 28th.
Next weekend. Yes.
Man, he looks good.
He does. Oh, you know what? They look good. They look good when they're bigger, don't they?
I think so, yeah.
The weight cut thing just is so disappointing because they look so skinny and frail, and then they're always tired. But when they're at their natural fighting weight, which is usually maybe like 10 pounds under what they walk around at, man, they look good, don't they?
Well, they've been
it.
showing some promo videos and stuff of him, and I'm just like, man, he has got really broad shoulders.
Oh, Paula. Seriously. Like, I just
You can't.
He's so attractive.
I can't.
He's such a physical specimen. He just really is.
He's fighting some kid who looks weird.
Oh, good. Hope he kicks his ass.
But I mean, the kid is undefeated. So,
well, you know what? Cerrone's in his. I think he's in his 30s. So he's gonna be winding up soon. I mean, he can't do this forever.
Yeah.
I mean, there always comes a time when it's time to call it. And I mean, I would love to keep watching him fight, but the reality is that, I don't want him to be mushy when he's in his 40s. I'd like him to be sound of mind. So hopefully he'll call it early. Okay, so here's mine.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Before I tell you my thing, John Hamm is dating Dakota Johnson.
Who's Dakota Johnson?
The 50 Shades of Grey girl.
She's like 11.
It's Dawn Johnson and Melanie Griffith's daughter.
I know. He's
dating her.
She's like 11 years old.
I don't know, but I saw that and I went, what? Really? That's who you... He does not date super attractive women. I mean, he's been, he has, been seen with certain actresses, but like his long-term girlfriend, basically his
life partner. Yeah.
They were together for like 12 years or something. She was not like some hottie. And I wouldn't consider Dakota Johnson a stunning woman either. Mm-mm. She's got the stringy brown hair, which I don't know why you would have that.
She's just very youthful. I mean, she's literally, if I had to guess, I think she's like 23.
How can you do that? You know how he can do that? He doesn't have daughters, adult children.
No,
he doesn't have any adult daughters. That's how you can get away with that.
And he's going through a midlife crisis. That's why him and his long-term girlfriend broke up. And
yeah, God, he's just so cute.
Dating a 23-year-old. Yeah.
Basically. I don't know. I mean, I know it works out for some, but isn't it just so cliche for a good-looking aging actor to date a young starlet? It's so cliche.
It's so cliche for just men in general. It doesn't matter if they're famous or not.
Although you got to give it to Cher. She robs the cradle and does and has no shame, like none. Did you know that she and Tom Cruise had a thing?
That's gross.
When he was young, she's like, "Oh, I love Tom Cruise. He was very energetic."
Wow.
I love Cher. She's the best.
That doesn't surprise me. I think Tom Cruise had an affinity for older women.
He does. That's why everybody was so surprised with the whole Katie Holmes thing. And well, that obviously did not work out. She was in love with Jamie Foxx.
Well, not just that, but that marriage was arranged by.
That was an arranged marriage.
That was like a Scientology arranged marriage that
that's so sad.
Obviously wasn't going to work out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That whole thing that's just so weird. Anyway, okay, so speaking of weird, here's my awkward moment. So of course, this is the year I get a pap smear.
Oh.
Because it's been 3 years, and when you're monogamous and old, you don't have to get them every year. If you're not sleeping around town, annual paps are not necessary. But if ladies, if you're getting your groove on, by all means do so. But just get a pap smear every year to make sure you're all safe and stuff. So anyway, so when I was told that I no longer had to have annuals, I was like, awesome. I mean, you still have to have a pelvic, but the pap part. It had been so long, I forgot how painful they are.
Well, yeah, they're not pleasant.
No, they're not. And so, he did all the things that they do. And so he's getting ready to put that spatula in there to scrape the cervix. And right when he does, I'm like, I've heard that they've updated the speculum. And he's like, what? And I said, yeah. He goes, well, what do you mean? I go, well, now instead of them looking like a duck's mouth, they look like a funnel, and then they just kind of open like a flower instead of the duck's mouth. And apparently it's more comfortable for the ladies.
You did? You said that?
Yes.
You said the ladies?
Yes. Because he'd scraped right when I'd said it.
Oh, so he was continuing with the procedure.
Yes.
Regardless of what you were saying.
Because small talk is so essential during a pap smear.
Hey, I let them do all the talking. I just lay there.
The nurse. That's going to be your drop. I just lay there. The nurse literally turned because she was going to start laughing. She turned and started moving things around on the counter. And then there's nothing worse than odd quietness after you do something like that. And he goes, okay, well, now I'm going to have to insert my finger into your rectum. I'm like, okay.
Oh, good. Let's put your finger up my butt.
Yeah. It was, I mean, if you didn't think that you could make it awkward, you absolutely can, ladies. You can make anything awkward if you speak in operatic tones and you start talking during a pelvic exam. So get out there and make it happen. It was so embarrassing.
The only embarrassing thing that ever happened to me during an examination is I was getting ready to get a pap smear in a pelvic. And I had my feet and legs in the stirrups, and the heat lamp was, blazing on me.
Blazing on your crotch.
I'm sitting there, and he's like, scoot your butt all the way down to the edge. And I'm just like, oh, my God. And it's just so uncomfortable to be spread eagle with your butt down to the bottom, and you're basically open. Your vagina right in their face.
I gotta tell you, when I don't know about you, but every time I have to assume that position, every time I go, I could never do porn. I could never do porn.
Jamie, I could never do that to anyone.
Right.
If I was having sex with someone, I know. I just, especially with the light. I mean, that's worse. It's just not going to happen.
That's brutal.
But I said,
what did you do?
We started talking about something, and I'm like, well, I don't really shave down there or anything. And so he popped his head up, and he's like, I can see that.
Well, I told you what happened to me once. What? Okay, well, without getting ridiculous, Daryl likes he does not like a full bush.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be, it's not hairless, but it is trim and cleaned up and tidy.
Right.
That's just the preference. I prefer it as well, but he really prefers that. So, I mean, don't you hate it when guys lie to you? He's like, you could do whatever you want down there. I'm like, well, that's a lie. And you and I both know that. If I went full bush, you would not be happy. This would be difficult for you.
I know what Victor prefers, but I mean, it's a lot of work to keep that up. And
it certainly is a regular routine. It is not something you can do once, set it and forget it. It is a maintenance issue.
The landing strip and then hairless everywhere else. I mean, that takes a lot of razors.
It takes a lot of maintenance for sure. So it's tidy. It's not porn clean, but it's tidy. Anyway, it was early on in our marriage, and I had started trying to do that because it was pleasurable for all involved. But I had a doctor's appointment, and I went in, and when you're regularly maintaining the area, you don't really think about it. It is what it is. So I assumed the position. I had my feet in the stirrups, wearing socks, of course. And I scooched my butt down, and Dr. Marshall goes, "Are we going to Brazil anytime soon?" And
because you were so bare.
I was so cleanly maintained.
Jeez.
I had gone overboard because I hadn't gotten the hang of it yet.
Had you, like, of course, shaved your butt crack, too?
Yeah. And here's the thing. Ladies and gentlemen who are listening, yes, I know that there are people who do this professionally, and I could probably save myself a lot of effort and just get it done, which you and I have talked about doing a lot.
God,
we really need to do it.
Well, now they have this stuff where you just melt it, the wax, and then they spread it on, and then they just pull the wax off. Where
that sounds
there's no
incredibly
strip.
Painful. Oh, I've seen that.
So
that
I don't know if that's
concerns me.
worse or if that's better.
Well, what if it drips over into your snatch? That would be really painful.
No, the people that do it, I'm sure, are complete professionals. I mean,
can you imagine training for that?
But I'm just telling you that my hair, it doesn't stop at the lips. Like,
it's everywhere.
You've got to pull it out.
You got to pull the labia
a little out to get the hairs that tuck under.
Okay.
And so I'm just thinking, like, is she really gonna like pull the lip out to like put the wax on there?
You know what I can only assume is they do it and you're like, oh, that's really warm and comforting. And you're like, oh God, ladies. It's like, seriously. We should do it. We have to find a reputable place, but I still think we should. I maintain we do it. But anyway, he's like, you going to Brazil? And I'm like, no. Why? He goes, are you going sailing? I'm like, what's happening?
Sailing?
I'm like, I don't understand. He goes, are you going to be wearing are you going to Rio? Are you going to be wearing a bikini anytime soon? I'm like, what are we talking about? He goes, you have no hair. And I'm like, oh, yes, I know. I forgot that I was coming today because I usually like to let things kind of grow out a little bit before I go to the doctor. Because many times I've had you have them say, it's not the healthiest thing to have no pubic hair. There's hair there for a reason. He told me that once. And I said, yes, I'm quite aware. I just went a little nuts. I'm learning. I'm figuring it out. It's kind of like when you learn that eyebrows are important and that you have to groom them. Your whole life, I never knew that eyebrows were so essential. And now I'm just like, oh my God, now they have to be, perfect.
I know. Anyway, I do like getting my eyebrows done, but I'm just so lazy to go and pay $10 to get them waxed. And I can't pluck.
I can do it a little bit, but the problem with me is that when I go, it's the same. Oh, well, you don't really have a whole lot. So we're just going to kind of, shape. They shape.
That's what they do to me. They do the bottom half of the thickest part.
Yes.
And then they do the top half to like shape it. But
it's weird because when I do get them done, and I don't have a lot of hair anywhere, really. I'm not a hairy person, but when they do the eyebrows, it's like, it's really distinct. Like, it makes me realize how much I really need to get this done regularly.
Well, when they show me the strip, I'm like, good God. You know?
What is this?
I'm like, where did all that hair come from? You told me I didn't have much eyebrows.
Jeez, I know. It's true. And I do, and I'm with you. I'm always happy I get it done, but then I never go back. Well, it takes me like a year.
Yeah, because they say come back in 6 weeks. And I'm just like, that's
right.
doable. And then,
and then
4 months later,
weeks.
I'm just like, well.
You're like, oh, here's that coupon I forgot that expired 3 months ago. Oh, well.
Guess I can get my eyebrows waxed again.
It's completely true. Yes. All right. Well, I think that's it for this week. We have so much else we can talk about. We'll talk about it next week.
We will. So thanks everybody for joining us. Thank you for your continued patronage. We always appreciate it. Thank you for the downloads and our Amazon link shoppers and our Avon purchasers. There's good stuff on both sites, so we encourage you to check it out. If you do, please use our Amazon portal. That always helps us. And then Avon, if you do purchase some makeup, that comes directly to us to help offset some of the costs for the show.
Yes.
We will see you next week. Have a nice 7 days. I was going to say have a nice weekend, but the weekend will be over.
It'll be almost over.
Have a nice 7 days. Bye.
Bye.
That's a wrap. But make sure to watch your podcast feed for all the screw-ups and edits from this episode and what we call Ugly Cuts. And then we'll have a brand new full episode for you next week. Thanks for listening and sharing the show. See you next time on The Ugly Truth.